I'm not some guru with the perfect life. I'm just a 20-year-old guy still trying to level up. And if you're in the same boat, here are some habits that have actually helped me to level up. Not theories, not fluff, just actual things that I've used to help me go from being stuck to actually being locked in. The first thing that's really helped me is by having a daily discipline tracker. Pretty much all this is that you just track your disciplines and your ability to actually get these things done on whatever frequency. So like say, for example, mine is like every day. I have like by a column or by column by rows every single day. And then like out of the columns, like the specific habit. So, okay, if I've meditated for this day, I'll like give a checkbox for that day. Or if I've like read 10 pages, I'll give a check mark for that box. I might show like a visual image on here so you can actually see what it looks like. But essentially, the reason that I do this and the reason why it's so effective is because it's so easy for us to believe that we're actually putting in the work when we're not actually as consistent as we think. Like, I'd like to believe that I'm a really disciplined guy, but when I actually start tracking my disciplines and like whether or not I've done it for the day, I see that I'm not actually consistent as I want to be in this. By having this accountability or this way of being accountable, it just helps me be more disciplined, be more consistent, and actually follow through more and more. If anything, this is probably the one like big meta thing that's helped me the most, because it takes you from being or pretty much like guessing your amount of discipline. Like it pretty much just takes all the guesswork out of it, and your ego and your brain just can't fool you into thinking that you're being more disciplined than you actually are being. It's so easy for me to sometimes think that I'm way more disciplined and consistent with meditation or something like reading, but when I actually get to look at what I've actually done, it just may not be like this, you know? Of course, it's not a bad thing if I, am not as consistent as I'd like to be. But the reason that this is so important is that it gives me an actual objective measure and like a baseline that I can improve on. It's essentially like some guys will complain that they're putting in all the work. Say, if it's something like fitness, they've been doing all of these hard workouts and they've been eating at a calorie surplus, but they're still not able to build muscle. But if they were actually able to track what they're actually doing with an objective way of measuring it, they'd see that, hey, one, you're not actually doing the workouts as consistently as you like to believe that you are. You're not eating out of calorie surplus consistently. But essentially, by having that accountability, that discipline tracker, it takes all the guesswork out of it. You're not able to fool yourself, and you're actually able to make progress way faster because you have an objective measure. Our brains are not very good at keeping us accountable. So having a tool like this that can actually keep you accountable for the objective things that you've done, it's super helpful. The next habit that's been very helpful is doing hard physical training, pretty much just doing workouts or like at home body weight workouts, whatever it is, just doing exercises essentially on a consistent basis. This has really helped me. One, for like the egotistical sides of things, because, when you start building muscle, when you have a better physique, start feeling better about yourself, people start treating you differently and you perceive your status going up. But also just for like the mental and like discipline, it does something to you. It makes you think differently about yourself and it helps you to push yourself more. When I started working out and I got to the point where I was actually seeing results and other people were seeing results as well, that changed the way that I saw myself, and it changed just the way that I moved essentially. It just sets you apart from so many other people nowadays, because nowadays a lot of guys especially, they just aren't working out, and you'll see it in their physiques. You'll see that they become either really fat or blubbery, or they get like really skinny, have no muscle. When you can set yourself apart from those guys, the way that you end up perceiving yourself and the way that other people end up treating you, it's just like a night and day difference. The next habit that's been really beneficial is just producing. Essentially, for me, this is just content creation. So like recording videos like this and also recording a short form video. It doesn't have to be content creation. The main thing is though, is working on something that has some purpose in your life, something you're building up towards, something you're trying to create essentially. This is especially important for the guys who don't want to fully go the 9-to-5 rat race route. They want to be able to work for themselves and not necessarily under someone else. Essentially, when you're able to work on something and actually produce something for other people to consume, or in other words, working on something so you can contribute to society in some way, it just makes you come off in a different way. It makes you treat your life like in a more different way. I'm not really sure how to explain it the best way, but ever since I started producing instead of just consuming, it just makes the learning experience solidify more, because you can read a whole bunch of books on, say, how to be like a good entrepreneur, but until you're actually in the trenches, actually doing that stuff, like the lessons don't really solidify until you actually do those things. It also helps you learn a lot about yourself and discover what your actual strengths are, what your actual weaknesses are. It's super helpful. So yeah, just produce something. Doesn't necessarily have to be content like YouTube videos, but just produce something. The next habit that's been very beneficial is digital minimalism. So there's a few different ways that I go about doing this. One is to turn off all the notifications on my phone or all my devices. You could be working on some task that's very important, but if you get a notification on your phone, it destroys your attention and focus level. When you don't have notifications on, it takes your level of focus to a much higher level. It's kind of weird when I see other people who like have a bunch of notifications going off on their phone, and you can kind of tell these other people who just aren't that productive. They kind of just like junkies to their phones, essentially. That's one specific strategy of digital minimalism, but it's also the little things like, you know, not being on TikTok, not excessively just like scrolling on shorts or Instagram or whatever. Because when you're on social media for all the time and you're just like not in the real world, it's just taking a lot of your time, a lot of your focus, and you're not able to build the things or make progress in any meaningful way. And it's something that I still struggle with to a degree, because there will be some times where I don't really have anything to do. Like I'm done with like all the work for the day. And then I just like scroll on YouTube shorts or something for a while. And then, you know, I come out of it, I'm like, oh my God, I just wasted my time scrolling on these shorts that had no benefits in my life, but like just to entertain myself. And even when it comes to videos like this, which are more long form, I'll end up watching like content like this thinking that I'm being productive because I'm watching something that requires like a higher attention span, but still it doesn't actually improve the quality of my life as much if it was something where, say, I was just going on a walk or just reading a book or something like that. Nowadays, and especially going into the future, we have to be careful about the way that we're consuming content, because if we're not careful, we will end up spending hours of our life and just our attention doing something that's mindless, something that doesn't really help us improve or level up in life. And then we'll fast forward and like be in a situation in life and be like, I just wasted so much time and I could have, you know, built something more meaningful, built something just like that, improve the quality of my life or the quality of others' lives more. Just be careful about the technology that you're using and make sure that it's not using you, but you're using it. Another big helpful thing that has helped me to level up is looking for areas of marginal gains. So essentially, instead of focusing on these things where you have to like put a huge amount of effort to like get a huge boost, you look for these very small things, that you can improve, that if you keep stacking these small things up, they eventually turn into huge things. For example, we could use fitness. If you're trying to build more strength and just like more muscle, say you're like pretty consistent in the gym already, you're able to do workouts consistently. One small marginal improvement you can make is that when you're actually doing the workouts, you increase your time under tension. So it's like, for 2 seconds, you're like going up, like say you're doing a bicep curls, 2 seconds, you're doing the contraction, and then you rest 1 second and then go down for the, whatever it's called, just like working on the time under tension. And even though that seemed like such a small detail, just like essentially like increasing your time under tension, the gains that you'll get from that, if you just keep doing this and add another small thing, like over time, it just like adds up. You can do like that thing, which is increasing the time under tension. And then, you know, later on, you also add something like, okay, you realize you're not really doing your calorie surplus, like the foods that you're eating, like make a marginal improvement by you just increase the amount of calories that you're eating by just like say 100 calories every single day. Again, a very small saving improvement. But again, by doing those little things, they add up over time and just create these huge, incredible results. The reason that this habit of looking for marginal gains, just these small improvements to look for, is that it's just not mentally taxing. Like if you compare that to trying to do something that's huge, you know, it's very mentally taxing. You have to put a bunch of effort into like making this huge improvement. But if you're just making some very small thing, those little tiny things that like seem to make no difference, they add up. Just create these huge, incredible results. So I'd like to look for these things whenever I can. I see small improvements that I can make because I know that they will add up over time. In the realm of fitness, it's just improving some small thing of your nutrition, improving some small thing of exercises that you're doing. Because as you start doing this, you'll notice that some small thing changes and then everything changes. Like you just like reach that breakthrough point. It really is crazy how effective this can be, whether it's like in your social interactions, doing something like fixing your body language, just making the small little detail and like how much impact that can make, or, you know, just trying to work on your voice and just like make your voice a little bit deeper. Something simple like making 4 eye contact when you're having these conversations. It's very small things. These things add up and they create these huge, incredible results for you. So whatever area in life that you're trying to level up things, you can look for these small marginal gains and keep stacking these small things up. Eventually the results that you end up getting are incredible. I'm not here trying to pretend that I've already made it, but if you're building yourself up too, hit the subscribe button. Let's grow together one small step at a time. Remember, if you want your life to change for the better, it starts with you. Peace out.